Welcome back to Soft Light Theory. In our last journey, we began to explore the universe around us. Tonight, we turn that gentle curiosity inward. This is the second episode in our new series, a quiet exploration of neuroplasticity versus habit, and how the most profound changes begin in the soft stillness of the mind. We live in a world that moves so quickly, but inside you, there is a landscape that holds the keys to growth, to peace, and to becoming. Your brain is not a fixed, finished thing. It is alive, it is learning, and it is constantly reshaping itself with every thought, every choice, and every moment of rest. This is the gentle miracle of neuroplasticity. Tonight, we begin our journey by visiting a place you know intimately, even if you have never seen it quite like this before. We begin in the garden of your mind. Chapter 1. The Garden of Your Mind. The summary of this chapter. Your mind is a vast and quiet garden, where thoughts bloom like flowers and habits form like well-worn paths. Tonight, we walk these gentle pathways, learning how to tend to the soil of our awareness, preparing for the seeds of change to be sown. And so, you settle in. Let the weight of your body grow heavy, sinking softly into the surface beneath you. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath, a quiet rhythm in the stillness of the room. There is nothing else for you to do, nowhere else for you to be. You are here, now, and that is enough. With your eyes closed, imagine a small, simple gate. It might be made of old, weathered wood or soft, polished stone. There is no lock. It waits for you. This is the entrance to the landscape of your mind, and as you gently push it open, you step through into a quiet and sprawling garden. This is your garden. It has always been here. Take a slow breath in and imagine the air here. It is cool and clean, carrying the scent of damp earth, of night-blooming flowers, and of calm. The light is soft, a gentle twilight that makes everything feel peaceful and safe. There are no harsh edges here. Everything is bathed in a gentle, forgiving glow. This is the space of your awareness, the inner world that is yours and yours alone. As you begin to walk, you notice the ground beneath your feet. It is a rich, dark soil, the very foundation of this place. This is the soil of your consciousness. When you are calm and rested, the soil is fertile and receptive. When you are hurried or worried, it can feel dry and compacted. For now, just feel its potential. It is the ground from which everything in your inner world grows. You do not need to fix it or change it. Simply notice it. Feel the soft give of the earth with each step. Look around you. This garden is vast, stretching out to a soft horizon, and scattered throughout are thoughts, appearing like the flora of this unique ecosystem. Some thoughts are like wildflowers, vibrant and beautiful, catching your eye for a moment before you move on. A happy memory, a gentle hope, an idea that brings a soft smile to your face. You can pause and admire them, enjoying their color and fragrance, but you do not need to cling to them. They are visitors in your garden. Let them be. Other thoughts are like weeds, persistent and stubborn. A worry that circles back again and again, a flicker of self-doubt, a replayed conversation. You may feel an instinct to pull them out, to fight them, but for tonight, just notice them. See them for what they are, simply another kind of growth in the garden. By observing them without judgment, you take away their power. You see that they too are just passing through. They are not you. You are the garden, the sky, the quiet observer of it all. You are the awareness that holds both the flower and the weed in the same gentle light. As you walk further, you begin to notice paths winding through the landscape. These are your habits. Some paths are faint, barely visible in the grass. A new skill you are learning, a resolution you just made. They are delicate, and it takes intention to walk them. You have to look for them, to choose them deliberately. Taking a single step on a new path feels like a conscious effort, a small adventure into an unknown part of your own mind. But other paths are different. They are wide, smooth, and deeply worn into the earth. These are your oldest, most ingrained habits, the way you react to stress, the automatic thought that follows a certain feeling, the familiar loop of your morning routine. You can walk these paths with your eyes closed. Your feet know the way. There is a comfort in their familiarity, a sense of ease. They are efficient. They conserve your energy. Your mind created these pathways for a reason, to make life easier, to automate the predictable so you can focus on the new. Feel the texture of one of these well-worn paths beneath your feet. It is smooth, solid, and reliable. It feels safe. This path was not formed overnight. It was created by countless footsteps, one after another, day after day. A single thought, a single action, repeated over and over, is like a person walking the same route across a field. At first, the grass is merely bent, but soon a faint trail appears. Over time, with enough repetition, that trail becomes a clear path, and eventually a deep and unthinking groove in the earth. This is how a habit is born. It is not a cage you are trapped in, but a path you have walked so many times that it has become the easiest route to take. Tonight, you are not here to judge these paths. You are not here to try and reroute them with force. You are simply here to see them, to understand them, to walk through your garden with a gentle, loving awareness. This is the first and most important act of a gardener, to know the land, to know the soil, to know what grows there, and to know the pathways that cross it. As you stand here, in the quiet twilight of your inner world, you can feel the immense potential of this place. It is not static. It is a living, breathing ecosystem. With attention, the soil can be nurtured. With intention, new seeds can be planted. And with patience, new paths can be formed. You are the gardener. You hold the gentle power to cultivate this space. You can choose which thoughts to water with your attention. You can choose which new, faint pathways you wish to explore. The air grows cooler now. The light softens even more. It is time to rest. Find a quiet place in your garden, perhaps beneath the branches of a large, silent tree, and allow yourself to settle. Feel the deep peace of this inner landscape. It is always here, waiting for you. This quiet, patient world inside of you is the source of all change. It is where everything begins. And as you rest here, on the soft earth of your own mind, a gentle question arises like a whisper on the breeze. A single footstep makes no lasting mark on the ground. 1,000 footsteps create a path. What is the force that deepens this groove? What turns a simple repetition into an automatic, powerful current that guides your life? It begins with a single drop of rain, and then another, and another. Chapter 2. The River of Repetition. The summary of this chapter. A single thought is but a drop of rain, but many create a river. This is the nature of habit. a current flowing through your life. We will drift along this river tonight, feeling its steady, quiet power, and learning how even the mightiest streams begin with a whisper. You are resting now, in the soft, quiet earth of your own inner garden. The question hangs in the air, as gentle as mist. What is the force that turns a simple repetition into a powerful current? It begins, as you imagined, with a single drop of rain. Feel it now, a single conscious thought, a choice, the decision to take one deep breath when you feel stressed, the choice to read one page of a book before sleep, the thought to offer a kind word. It is just one drop. It lands on the soil of your mind, and for a moment it glistens before sinking into the earth, seemingly gone. It leaves almost no trace. The next day, you make the same choice. Another drop falls, and then another, and another. At first, these choices, these droplets of intention, seem to do very little. They are separate, individual moments. But slowly, where they fall, the ground becomes softer, more saturated. A tiny puddle of awareness begins to form. It is a fragile thing. If the rain stops, the sun will come out, and the puddle will vanish as if it were never there. This is the delicate, early stage of a new habit. It requires your constant, gentle attention to keep the water from evaporating. It feels like effort. It feels like you are willing the rain to fall, drop by drop. But if you continue, something magical begins to happen. The small collection of water finds a natural inclination in the land, a slight dip in the soil of your mind, and it begins to move. It is no longer a still puddle, but a tiny, meandering trickle of water. It carves a shallow, temporary line in the earth. You can see its path, but it is easily diverted. A single large stone, a moment of doubt, a day of exhaustion, can stop its flow entirely or send it in a completely different direction. You are still tending to it, still consciously guiding it, clearing its path. This is the process of building a new pathway in your brain. Each repetition, each drop of rain, is a signal flowing between your brain cells, your neurons. The first time the signal travels, the path is new and inefficient. It's like that first trickle of water, finding its way through thick grass and uneven ground. But the more the signal is sent, the more the pathway is cleared. The connection between the neurons strengthens. The trickle of water, fed by the steady rain of your repetition, begins to flow with more confidence. It deepens its own channel, washing away small pebbles, smoothing its own banks. Now, the trickle has become a stream. It has a life of its own. You don't have to focus so intensely on every single drop of rain, because the stream has begun to create its own momentum. The water now naturally wants to flow where the stream has been carved. To choose a different path now requires more effort than to simply let the water flow along this established course. This is the point where a new habit starts to feel less like a chore and more like a choice, and soon less like a choice and more like a natural inclination. The path of least resistance is slowly being redefined. As the days and weeks go by and the rain of repetition continues to fall, the stream swells. It becomes a river, and this river has power. It flows through the garden of your mind with a quiet, unshakable force. It has carved a deep, smooth, permanent channel in the landscape. This is your ingrained habit. It is no longer a conscious choice you make, but a current that carries you. Think of driving a familiar route to work. You don't consciously decide to press the brake or use the turn signal. You are simply carried along by the river of habit, your mind free to wander elsewhere. The river flows on its own. This is not just a metaphor. It is a physical reality in your brain. As you repeat an action or a thought, the long, slender connection between your neurons, the axon, gets coated in a fatty, protective layer called myelin. You can imagine this as the riverbed lining itself with smooth, slippery silk. This myelin sheath acts as an insulator, allowing the electrical signal of your thoughts to travel faster and more efficiently with less energy. The signal doesn't leak out or get distracted. It flows, swift and sure, down the well-myelinated path. A thought, a feeling, and an action become fused into one seamless, rapid flow. This is the river, deep and fast, lined with the silk of myelin. It is the physical embodiment of your habit. Let yourself drift on one of these rivers now. Choose a habit that is deeply a part of you. It could be the way you make your coffee in the morning, the way you brush your teeth, or even a way of thinking, like a tendency toward optimism or worry. Don't judge it. Just feel it. Feel the effortless pull of the current. You are not swimming. You are being carried. There is a deep comfort in this, a profound efficiency. This river was created to conserve your precious energy. It is your brain's way of helping you. Notice the character of this river. Is the water clear and calm, a life-giving force that nourishes the garden around it? Or is it a murky and turbulent river, with a current so strong it erodes its banks and pulls you away from where you truly want to go? Again, no judgment. Simply observe. You are the quiet witness on the riverbank, watching the water flow. Every river in your garden, no matter how powerful, has a source. If you were to travel all the way back to its beginning, against the current, past the stream, beyond the trickle, you would find it, a place on the high ground of your mind where the very first drops of rain began to fall. This is the secret of change. A mighty river cannot be stopped with a dam of pure willpower. That takes immense, exhausting effort. But you can always travel to a different part of the garden and begin with a new drop of rain. You can start a new trickle, and with patient, gentle repetition, you can create a new stream, and in time, a new river that will flow in the direction you choose. You are the sky that brings the rain. You are the landscape through which the rivers flow. And as you float here, in this deep state of rest, feel the gentle currents that move within you. They are just pathways. They are not you. But what are these pathways made of? What are the tiny, invisible hands that lay down the silky lining of the riverbed, that carve the very earth of your mind with every passing thought? They are the architects of your inner world, and they are working even now as you drift deeper into sleep. Chapter 3. The Architects of the Brain. The summary of this chapter. Deep within you, tiny architects are always at work. These are your neurons, sculpting the very structure of your thoughts. We will journey inward to meet these microscopic builders, watching as they forge connections and pathways, creating the intricate architecture of your mind, moment by moment. You are drifting now, on the quiet, steady river of a familiar habit. You feel its effortless current, carrying you along, a testament to the power of repetition. But as you float in this deep and peaceful state, you begin to wonder about the riverbed itself. What are the invisible hands that carved this channel so deeply into the landscape of your mind? What are the forces that lined it with a silken smoothness, allowing your thoughts to flow so swiftly. To find the answer, we must journey deeper, deeper than the garden, deeper than the river. We must travel inward, to the microscopic level, to meet the builders. Imagine now that your awareness is shrinking, becoming smaller and smaller, until the vast garden becomes an entire universe. You are floating in a warm, quiet darkness, and all around you, faint lights begin to appear. They pulse with a soft, rhythmic energy, like constellations in an inner cosmos. There are billions of them, more stars than are in our entire galaxy. These are your neurons. They are the architects of your mind. Let your focus drift toward one of these points of light. As you draw closer, you see its beautiful, intricate form. It is a single cell, but it looks like a celestial tree, forged from starlight. At its center is the main body, a workshop filled with the energy and machinery needed for its grand purpose. Extending from this center are countless branching arms, like the delicate branches of a tree, reaching out into the twilight. These are its dendrites, and their job is to listen. They are the ears of the architect, sensitively attuned to the messages arriving from thousands of other neurons around them. They gather whispers of information, collecting signals of thought, feeling, and sensation. Then, from the other side of the cell body, you see one long, powerful pathway extending outward. It is a beautiful, shimmering fiber that travels a great distance through the inner space. This is the axon. Its job is not to listen, but to speak. When the architect has gathered enough information, when the whispers it has heard reach a certain threshold, it sends its own message down this pathway. It is a single, decisive pulse of electrochemical energy, a spark of intention. Now watch closely, for here lies the secret of how your inner world is built. Follow that long, shimmering axon to its very end, where it reaches out toward the listening branches of a neighboring neuron. But it does not quite touch. There is a space between them, a gap so small it is almost imperceptible. This infinitesimal space is called a synapse. It is a silent, sacred canyon between the speaker and the listener. A message cannot simply walk across. It must make a leap of faith. When the spark of energy reaches the end of the axon, it triggers the release of something miraculous, tiny chemical messengers. Imagine them as a fine, luminous dust, a puff of starlight released into the gap. This dust floats across the synaptic canyon and is gathered by the listening branches of the next architect. This is a thought. This is a feeling. This is a memory. It is not a solid thing, but a delicate, electrochemical whisper from one neuron to another. A connection has been made. A pathway has been used. The first time this happens between two architects who have never spoken before, the connection is weak. The whisper is faint. But if the same thought is thought again, the same choice made again, the same memory recalled again, the architects speak to each other a second time. The puff of starlight is released once more. The listening branches become more attuned to this specific message. The two architects are beginning to form a relationship. They are learning to work together. This is the very beginning of a path in your garden. This is the first drop of rain that softens the soil. With every repetition, the connection strengthens. The speaking neuron becomes more efficient at releasing its messenger dust. The listening neuron grows more receptive, creating more landing spots for the message to be heard. They are building a bridge of understanding across the silent canyon. The path becomes clearer. The whisper becomes a confident conversation. Now, let's return to the river. The deep, smooth channel of a habit is a network of architects who have been conversing for a very long time. They are a team of master builders who have perfected their craft. When a familiar trigger occurs, the sight of your toothbrush, the smell of coffee, a feeling of anxiety, the first architect in the chain speaks. The message leaps across the synapse to the second, then to the third, and so on, a cascade of light flashing down a well-established route. The conversation is so fast, so efficient, it feels like a single, continuous flow. And the architects have a way of making their favorite pathways even faster. As a connection is used over and over, other specialized cells come along and wrap the long speaking axon in that fatty, protective layer we call myelin. This is the silken lining of the riverbed. It is the architects paving their highway. This insulation prevents the precious signal from weakening or scattering. It allows the spark to travel at incredible speeds, leaping down the axon from one node to the next. A thought that once traveled at the speed of a person walking can now travel at the speed of a racing car. This is why a deeply ingrained habit feels so automatic, so instantaneous. The architecture for it has been optimized to perfection. It has become a physical, high-speed network in your brain. Take a slow, deep breath and just rest in the marvel of this. Right now, as you lie here, listening, billions of these architects are at work. They are maintaining the pathways of your oldest memories, the ones that feel like the bedrock of who you are. They are reinforcing the skills you practice today. They are even forging new, tentative connections as you absorb these very words. Your inner world is not a fixed sculpture. It is a living, shimmering city of light, and you are its chief architect. Every moment of your life, you are giving these builders instructions. A moment of deliberate, focused attention on something new is like handing them a blueprint and saying, "Build here. This is important." A moment of distraction, of letting your mind wander down a familiar path of worry, is an instruction to reinforce that structure. The pathways you neglect will weaken. The architects will be reassigned to other projects. The unused roads will become overgrown with time. The connections you use are the ones that will define the landscape of your mind tomorrow. This is the profound and gentle truth of neuroplasticity. You are constantly sculpting your own brain, whether you are aware of it or not. The feeling of being you is the unique and beautiful pattern of this ever-changing city. But these architects are tireless. They work in the light of your conscious attention and in the darkness of your unconscious mind. They build the pathways for your joy and your skills, but they also build the pathways for your fears and your automatic reactions, all with the same impartial dedication. They simply follow the instructions of repetition. And so, a question arises in the quiet of this inner cosmos. What of the structures built long ago, perhaps in childhood, whose blueprints you have long forgotten? What of the pathways so deeply paved and so efficiently run that they operate in complete silence, without any conscious thought at all? They are a part of your city's architecture, but they feel like they belong to someone else, moving through you like a quiet presence, a ghost in the magnificent, living machine of your mind. Chapter 4. The Ghost in the Machine. The summary of this chapter. Some habits feel like ghosts, moving through you without conscious thought. These are the echoes of old learnings, held deep within your mind. Tonight, we'll sit with these gentle phantoms, understanding their origins and their purpose, learning that they are not to be feared, but to be understood. You are floating in the quiet cosmos of your mind, a silent observer of the city of light that is your brain. You have met the architects, your neurons, and have seen how they build the pathways of your thoughts and habits, reinforcing them with every repetition. You understand that the most well-traveled roads become superhighways, paved with the smooth, insulating silk of myelin, allowing messages to travel with breathtaking speed. These are the habits you know, the routines you consciously perform. But as you drift in this inner space, you sense other processes at work, deeper and more ancient. You feel the hum of activity from a part of the city you cannot consciously see. These are the pathways so deeply ingrained, so perfectly efficient, that they no longer require any light from your awareness. They operate in the quiet dark, in the oldest parts of your brain. These are the habits that feel less like your own actions and more like forces that move through you. A sudden, sharp feeling of anxiety in a crowd, an immediate craving for something sweet when you feel sad, a defensive tone that rises in your voice before you've even registered the reason. These are the ghosts in your machine. They are not scary phantoms. They are simply echoes of old learnings, the work of architects from a long, long time ago. To understand them, we must journey to a different part of your brain, a region far from the conscious, deliberate planning of your modern mind. Let your awareness drift downward, toward the center, to a small, almond-shaped cluster of neurons. This is your amygdala. It is an ancient and powerful structure. It is your brain's smoke detector, its sentinel. Its primary job is to ask one simple question, over and over, every second of your life. Am I safe? This little sentinel is not sophisticated. It does not understand nuance or context. It thinks in black and white, threat or no threat. When you were a child and something frightening or painful happened, your amygdala learned. It took a snapshot of the entire experience, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, the people involved, and it created a simple, powerful rule. This situation is dangerous. The architects in this ancient region forged a connection, a lightning-fast pathway designed for one purpose, to protect you. Now, as an adult, when you encounter even a small piece of that original snapshot, a certain tone of voice, a particular look on someone's face, a feeling of being powerless, the sentinel sounds the alarm. It doesn't reason. It doesn't check to see if the threat is real or just an echo. It simply runs the old program, and it sends an immediate, powerful signal that bypasses your conscious thinking brain entirely. This signal is the ghost. It is the sudden wave of emotion, fear, anger, shame, that floods your body before you have a chance to think. It is the automatic impulse to retreat, to fight back, to shut down. This is not a flaw in your design. It is a feature of your survival. This system was designed to have you jump away from the snake-shaped stick first and ask questions later. That efficiency is what kept your ancestors alive. The ghost's only intention is to keep you safe, using the best information it had at the time it was programmed. It is a loyal, if outdated, guardian. Now let your awareness travel to another nearby region, a cluster of architects known as the basal ganglia. This is the engine room of your habits. While your conscious mind is busy with new ideas and complex problems, the basal ganglia is where the well-worn paths, the rivers of repetition, are stored and executed. It is the master of automation. When you first learn a new skill, like riding a bicycle, you are using your conscious mind. You are wobbly, focused, thinking about every little movement. But once you've practiced enough, the basal ganglia takes over. It bundles the entire sequence, balance, pedal, steer, into a single, smooth, unconscious action. It creates a chunk. This chunking process is incredibly efficient. It frees up your conscious mind to worry about other things, like where you are going. This is how all habits are formed, from tying your shoes to your morning coffee ritual. The process is always the same: a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue is the trigger, the sight of your running shoes. The routine is the chunked behavior, the act of going for a run. The reward is the feeling of satisfaction or pleasure afterward. When this loop is repeated enough times, the basal ganglia automates it completely. The ghost is born. This little sentinel is not sophisticated. It does not understand nuance or context. It thinks in black and white, threat or no threat. When you were a child and something frightening or painful happened, your amygdala learned. It took a snapshot of the entire experience, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, the people involved, and it created a simple, powerful rule. This situation is dangerous. The architects in this ancient region forged a connection, a lightning-fast pathway designed for one purpose: to protect you. Now, as an adult, when you encounter even a small piece of that original snapshot, a certain tone of voice, a particular look on someone's face, a feeling of being powerless, the sentinel sounds the alarm. It doesn't reason. It doesn't check to see if the threat is real or just an echo. It simply runs the old program, and it sends an immediate, powerful signal that bypasses your conscious thinking brain entirely. This signal is the ghost. It is the sudden wave of emotion, fear, anger, shame, that floods your body before you have a chance to think. It is the automatic impulse to retreat, to fight back, to shut down. This is not a flaw in your design. It is a feature of your survival. This system was designed to have you jump away from the snake-shaped stick first and ask questions later. That efficiency is what kept your ancestors alive. The ghost's only intention is to keep you safe, using the best information it had at the time it was programmed. It is a loyal, if outdated, guardian. Now let your awareness travel to another nearby region, a cluster of architects known as the basal ganglia. This is the engine room of your habits. While your conscious mind is busy with new ideas and complex problems, the basal ganglia is where the well-worn paths, the rivers of repetition, are stored and executed. It is the master of automation. When you first learn a new skill, like riding a bicycle, you are using your conscious mind. You are wobbly, focused, thinking about every little movement. But once you've practiced enough, the basal ganglia takes over. It bundles the entire sequence, balance, pedal, steer, into a single, smooth, unconscious action. It creates a chunk. This chunking process is incredibly efficient. It frees up your conscious mind to worry about other things, like where you are going. This is how all habits are formed, from tying your shoes to your morning coffee ritual. The process is always the same: a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue is the trigger, the sight of your running shoes. The routine is the chunked behavior, the act of going for a run. The reward is the feeling of satisfaction or pleasure afterward. When this loop is repeated enough times, the basal ganglia automates it completely. The ghost is born. The ghost is the automatic urge that arises when the cue appears. You aren't thinking, I should go for a run. You simply feel a pull, a quiet, insistent nudge from the engine room of your mind. And this is true for all habits, not just the ones you consider good. The cue of feeling stressed might trigger the automated routine of reaching for a cookie, which delivers the reward of a momentary sugar rush. The cue of boredom might trigger the routine of scrolling through your phone, which delivers the reward of novelty. The ghost is the invisible hand that guides you toward the familiar, rewarding routine before your conscious mind can intervene. And so, you see, these ghosts are not mysterious forces. They are simply well-rehearsed programs running in the oldest and most efficient parts of your brain. They are the work of your loyal sentinel, the amygdala, trying to protect you, and your efficient engine room, the basal ganglia, trying to help you save energy. They are not your enemies. They are your own mind, working on your behalf with old information. To sit with these gentle phantoms is to bring light into the quiet, dark rooms where they operate. You don't need to fight them or banish them. You simply need to see them. When you feel that sudden, automatic wave of emotion, or that familiar, unthinking urge, you can learn to pause. And in that pause, you can whisper to yourself, "Ah, there is the ghost. I see you." You can acknowledge the old learning. You can thank the sentinel for trying to protect you. You can notice the automated pull from the engine room. By simply noticing, you are doing something profound. You are bringing the light of your awareness to an unconscious process. You are introducing a new piece of information into the system. You are stepping out of the role of the person being carried by the river and into the role of the observer on the riverbank. You are not the ghost. You are the one who sees the ghost. And in that space of seeing, a new possibility is born. The automatic loop is interrupted. A choice becomes possible. As you rest here, in the deep quiet of your being, feel a sense of gentle compassion for these parts of you. They are not flawed or broken. They are simply doing their job. But their programming can be updated. The architects are always waiting for new blueprints. The old, overgrown paths in the garden do not need to be ripped out with force. They can simply be allowed to fade from lack of use as you begin to blaze a new trail. And this is the gentle question that now emerges in the stillness. If these old pathways run on the fuel of repetition and reward, how do you begin to create a new one? How do you introduce a new blueprint to the architects? It does not begin with a grand effort or a monumental act of will. It begins with something much smaller, much softer. It begins with a single, tiny, luminous flicker in the darkness, a spark of novelty. Chapter 5. The Spark of Novelty. The summary of this chapter: change begins with a single spark, a new idea, a different choice. This is the essence of neuroplasticity, your brain's profound ability to awaken. We will watch for this first light, feeling the gentle energy of novelty as it illuminates forgotten corners of your inner world. You are resting in the deep quiet of your being, feeling a gentle compassion for the old programs that run within you, the loyal sentinels and efficient engines that create the ghosts in your machine. You have seen, how they were built from repetition and reward, and how they can be met with the light of your awareness. And as you rest, a gentle question lingers in the stillness. How do you begin to create a new path? It does not begin with force. It begins with something much smaller, much softer. It begins with a single, tiny, luminous flicker in the darkness, a spark of novelty. Imagine yourself back in the vast, quiet garden of your mind. The twilight is deep and comfortable. The well-worn paths of your habits are clear, and you could walk them with your eyes closed. But tonight, you do something different. You turn your head just slightly, and in the distance, you see something you hadn't noticed before. A single, unfamiliar flower, glowing with a soft, internal light. You decide to leave the familiar path and walk toward it. This choice, this simple turning of your attention towards something new, is the spark. This is the essence of neuroplasticity in its most gentle form. It is your brain's innate love for the new. Your mind is not just a creature of habit, it is also a curious explorer, hungry for new information, new experiences, new light. When you encounter something novel, a piece of music you've never heard, a path you've never walked, a thought you've never considered, your brain awakens. It leans forward. It pays attention. What is this spark in the language of your inner architects? It is a chemical messenger, a molecule of motivation called dopamine. Often dopamine is mistaken for a messenger of pleasure, but it is more accurate to think of it as the messenger of intrigue. When you encounter something new and potentially rewarding, a specialized group of architects in your brain releases a small burst of this chemical. It is not the reward itself. It is the promise of a reward. It is the feeling of, oh, what's this? It is the pull of curiosity that makes you lift your head and look. This spark of dopamine does something wonderful. It acts like a spotlight, shining a bright beam of your attention onto the new thing. It tells the rest of your brain, pay attention. This is interesting. This might be important. It heightens your senses. The colors of the glowing flower seem more vivid. Its scent is more distinct. You are more present, more engaged. In this moment, you are not being carried by the river of habit. You are standing on the bank, fully awake, observing something new. This is why breaking a routine, even in a tiny way, can feel so refreshing. Taking a different route on your walk, trying a new kind of tea, listening to a different genre of music. Each of these small acts of novelty sends a little spark of dopamine through your brain. It is a signal to your architects that the old blueprints are not the only ones available. It is a gentle invitation to consider building something new. Feel this gentle energy now. Think of a small, simple, new thing you could do tomorrow. Perhaps it is stretching for just 1 minute when you wake up. Perhaps it is looking out the window and truly seeing one specific cloud in the sky. Perhaps it is saying, thank you, with a little more intention. Just holding this new idea in your mind is itself an act of novelty. It is a tiny spark. It does not require immense willpower or a monumental struggle. It is simply a gentle shift of focus, a quiet whisper of, what if? This spark is the first step in creating a new pathway. When the spotlight of your attention shines on a new action or thought, you are encouraging a new conversation between your architects. Two neurons that may have never spoken before are now being asked to connect. The first time, the signal is weak, like that first faint whisper across the synaptic canyon. It is just a possibility, but the spark of novelty has highlighted the location. It has placed a small, glowing marker in the landscape of your mind saying, a new path could begin here. Unlike the powerful, rushing river of habit, the spark of novelty is a delicate thing. It is a single candle flame in a vast, dark room. It can be easily extinguished by the winds of distraction, stress, or fatigue. If you have the new thought, I will stretch for a minute tomorrow, but then immediately get pulled back into the powerful current of your old morning routine. The spark fades. The new connection between the architects is not reinforced. The conversation ends before it has truly begun. This is why change can feel so difficult. We expect the new habit to immediately have the same power as the old one. We try to build a dam against a mighty river, when all we really need to do is protect a tiny flame. The goal is not to fight the old path, but to gently and consistently nurture the new one. The spark of novelty provides the light, but it is your gentle, repeated attention that provides the fuel to keep it burning. So for now, just rest with the beauty of the spark itself. Acknowledge the profound power held within a single, small, new choice. It is a declaration to the universe of your mind that you are not a fixed and finished thing. You are a living, evolving landscape. You have the capacity to grow in new directions, to cultivate new flowers in your garden, to see your own inner world with fresh eyes. The spark of novelty is the universe's gift to you, a constant invitation to awaken. It is present in the face of a stranger, in the taste of a new food, in the words of a poem, in the silence between your thoughts. It is always there, waiting to be noticed. It is the gentle but persistent reminder that your map is not yet complete. There are always new territories to explore, new light to discover. And as you drift now, in the peaceful glow of this understanding, a new question begins to form, as soft as the petals of that luminous flower. The spark shows you where a new path can begin. It provides the initial light. But what does it take to keep that fragile flame alive? How do you tend to that first, delicate seedling of a habit, protecting it long enough for it to grow roots and begin its journey toward becoming a stream of its own? Chapter 6. Forging New Pathways. The summary of this chapter: to change a habit is to blaze a new trail in the wilderness of your mind. It requires gentle effort and patient, repeated steps. Tonight, we will walk this new path together, clearing the way, thought by thought, until a new way of being feels as natural as the old one once did. You are resting in the quiet of your inner garden, holding the gentle warmth of a single, luminous spark. It is the spark of novelty, the promise of a new beginning, the place where a new path could be born. It has shown you the way, but a spark is not a path. A single moment of inspiration is not a transformation. And so, the question lingers in the soft air. How do you tend to this fragile flame? How do you forge a new way of being in the vast wilderness of your mind? It begins with a single, conscious step. With the light of that new idea still glowing, you turn away from the wide, smooth, familiar river of your old habit. You turn toward the untrodden ground, and you lift your foot. For a moment, there is a hesitation. The old path is so easy. Its current pulls at you with a familiar, comforting gravity. It whispers, "Come this way. It's easier here. We know this way." Your mind, in its infinite desire to be efficient, resists the new. It resists the unknown. This moment of hesitation is normal. It is the feeling of your own brain trying to save you energy. Meet this resistance not with force, but with a gentle acknowledgement. I see you. You can whisper. Thank you for trying to help. But today, we are walking here. And then, you take the step. Your foot lands on soft, unbroken earth. It feels strange, awkward even. You have to consciously push aside a branch of an old thought, step over a root of doubt. The ground is uneven. This is the first communication between a new network of architects. It is a clumsy, slow, deliberate signal. Hello, one neuron whispers to another across a silent, unused synapse. Are you there? There is no high-speed, myelinated superhighway here. There is only a faint, hopeful signal sent out into the quiet. You take another step, and another. Each one is a conscious choice. You are not flowing. You are deliberately, carefully walking. This is the feeling of active, focused attention. You are bringing the full power of your awareness to this single, simple action. In your brain, you are commanding the architects. Speak to each other. And again, and again. With each step, with each repetition, the signal between them gets a little clearer. The puff of chemical messengers across the synaptic gap becomes a little more confident. The listening branches of the receiving neuron become a little more attuned to this specific message. This is the hard part, but it is a gentle kind of hard. It is the work of the gardener tending to a new seedling. You must protect it from the winds of distraction and the pull of the old river. You must consciously choose it, again and again. The first few times you walk this new trail, it feels like a significant effort. You might even get lost for a moment and find yourself back on the old familiar road without realizing how you got there. This is not a failure. It is simply the nature of the mind. The old river is powerful. When this happens, you do not scold yourself. You simply notice where you are, and with kindness, you gently guide yourself back to the beginning of your new, fragile path, and take the first step once more. As you continue this practice, day after day, something beautiful begins to happen. The path, which was at first invisible, begins to show. The grass, where you have stepped, is now slightly bent. A faint line is emerging in the wilderness. You no longer have to push aside the same branch every time. It has been gently bent out of the way. The architects are getting better at their new conversation. They are beginning to anticipate the message. The connection is strengthening. With still more repetition, the path becomes clearer. The faint line becomes a visible trail. Now, other cells in your brain, the master pavers, begin to take notice. They see this new, consistent activity. They see that this conversation between these specific architects is important, and so they come to help. They begin to wrap that long speaking axon in the smooth, silken insulation of myelin. They are paving your new road. At first, it is like laying down scattered stepping stones. The journey becomes a little less awkward, a little more fluid. The signal doesn't have to struggle so much. It can leap from stone to stone. This is the point where your new habit starts to feel less like a chore and more like a real possibility. The initial intense effort begins to soften. You can walk the path now without having to stare at your feet for every single step. A little momentum is building. A tiny, new trickle of water is beginning to flow along the trail you have cleared. It does not yet have the power of the old river, but it has its own gentle current. You continue. You walk the path every day, and the pavers continue their work. More myelin is laid down. The stepping stones are replaced by a smooth, continuous surface. The architect's conversation is no longer a series of hesitant whispers, but a fluid, rapid exchange. The signal flashes down the newly paved highway with grace and speed. The trickle of water has become a stream. And now, a magical shift occurs. You wake up one morning, and you find that the new path has a gentle pull of its own. It no longer requires the full force of your conscious will to choose it. The choice feels natural. To not do the new habit feels slightly stranger than to do it. The stream has carved its own channel now. It has its own gravity. You have walked this way so many times, you have nurtured this connection with such patient repetition, that your brain has accepted it as a new default. It has become part of the map. The old river is still there. It may never vanish completely, but it is no longer the only option. You have built an alternative. You have given yourself a choice. And the more you walk this new, beautiful path, the more your brain will invest in it, making it wider, smoother, and faster. Over time, it is this new path that can become your mighty river, a current of positive change that carries you effortlessly. Rest now with this understanding. Feel the deep satisfaction of this gentle, creative process. You are the trailblazer. You are the gardener. You are the one who instructs the architects. You have the innate power to reshape the very landscape of your mind, not through a violent battle, but through quiet, patient, and loving repetition. You can forge new pathways for peace, for strength, for joy, for any way of being you wish to cultivate. It all begins with a single spark, followed by a single, conscious step, and then another, and another. The conscious work of forging this path is done for the day. You have walked the trail, you have sent your instructions to the builders. But what happens now, as you let go and drift into the deep quiet of sleep? Does the work stop, or does a different kind of gardener arrive in the night? A silent partner who tends to your new creations in the mysterious and sacred theater of your dreams. Chapter 7. The Role of Rest and Dreams. The summary of this chapter. The mind does not rest when you sleep. It gardens. In the quiet theater of your dreams, your brain strengthens what matters. We will explore this sacred time of healing, where the work of change continues softly in the dark. You are resting now, feeling the deep satisfaction of having walked your new path. The conscious work is done. You have given your instructions to the architects, taken your deliberate steps, and begun to forge a new way of being in the quiet wilderness of your mind. A question hangs in the twilight air. What happens now, as you let go and drift into the deep quiet of sleep? Does the work stop, or does a different kind of gardener arrive in the night, a silent partner who tends to your new creations in the mysterious and sacred theater of your dreams? As your breath deepens and you surrender to the gentle pull of sleep, the conscious gardener of your mind quietly lays down their tools and departs. But the garden is not left unattended, for sleep is not a state of emptiness or absence. It is a time of profound and essential activity. A silent, diligent night crew arrives, and their work is just as important as the conscious efforts of the day. The first thing this night crew does is clean. As you go about your day, thinking, feeling, and living. Your brain's activity creates metabolic byproducts, a kind of cellular dust. During your waking hours, this dust accumulates in the spaces between your neurons. Imagine it as the fallen leaves and twigs that litter the garden paths after a busy day. If left uncleared, this debris can clog the pathways and make the soil of your mind feel heavy and slow. But as you enter deep sleep, something remarkable happens. The channels between your brain cells actually expand, and a special fluid gently flows through, washing the entire landscape. It is like a soft, cleansing night rain that rinses away the debris of the day, carrying away the waste products and leaving the garden fresh, clean, and ready for the morning sun. This is why a good night's sleep leaves you feeling so clear-headed and refreshed. The soil of your mind has been cleansed and renewed, but this is only the beginning of the night's work. Once the garden is clean, the true gardeners of the night appear. These are the archivists, the editors, and the weavers. Their job is to sort through the experiences of the day and decide what to keep, what to discard, and how to weave the new learnings into the fabric of who you are. As you drift in the early, dreamless stages of deep sleep, the archivists begin their most important task: consolidation. They revisit the faint, new trail you blazed today. During the day, you walked it slowly, with conscious effort. Now, in the quiet of the night, your brain replays that journey, but at incredible speed. The conversation between the new architects, the one you initiated with your focused attention, is repeated over and over again, like a sped-up film. Each replay strengthens their connection, deepens the path, and encourages the master pavers to continue their work of laying down the silken, insulating myelin. The work you started is being reinforced for you automatically as you rest. You are literally strengthening new habits and skills in your sleep. At the same time, the editors are at work. Your brain cannot keep everything. It must choose what is important. During the day, you created countless fleeting connections, countless faint footprints in the garden. The night editors walk through the landscape and prune away the connections that were weak or unimportant. They are like gardeners who trim away the small, scraggly weeds so that the chosen plants have more resources to grow strong. This pruning is not a loss, it is a clarification. It makes the important signals stronger by removing the background noise. The pathways you walked with intention are nurtured, while the ones you ignored are allowed to fade back into the wilderness. This is why sleep is so vital for learning. It doesn't just add new information, it intelligently refines your inner world. Then, as you drift deeper into the night, you enter the mysterious realm of REM sleep, the stage where dreams unfold. Here, a different kind of work begins. This is the work of the weavers. The archivists and editors were logical, strengthening and refining the exact path you walked. The weavers are more like poets and artists. They take your new learning, that new skill, that new thought, that new way of being, and they begin to connect it to the rest of your garden. In the strange, symbolic theater of your dreams, your brain asks, how does this new path connect to old memories? How does this new skill relate to my sense of self? What does this new thought mean in the context of my deepest hopes and fears? The weavers take the new thread and weave it into the vast, intricate tapestry of your life. This is why dreams can feel so bizarre and disconnected. They are a form of creative problem-solving, a way for your mind to explore the emotional and relational significance of your new learning. This process makes the new habit more flexible, more meaningful, and more truly a part of you. It is no longer just a path. It is an integrated feature of your entire landscape. So rest now and trust in the profound wisdom of this nightly process. Sleep is not lost time. It is the sacred, active space where change takes root. The effort you make during the day is the seed, but the darkness, the rest, and the dreams are the fertile soil and gentle rain that allow it to grow. You are doing the work even now, as you simply lie here and let go. But as the silent gardeners tend to your inner world, a gentle question arises. This process of strengthening and pruning is not random. The night crew must have a way of knowing which of the day's experiences are the important ones to keep. How do they know which new seedlings to water and which to let wither? They look for a special kind of marker, a tag left behind not by thought, but by feeling. A quiet, colorful flag that signals what truly matters to your heart. Chapter 8. The Emotional Compass. The summary of this chapter. Your feelings are the compass that guides your habits. They are the quiet reward system that tells your brain what to repeat. We will listen to the subtle language of your emotions, learning how they shape your choices and how you can guide them toward new horizons. You are resting in the deep, healing quiet of sleep, trusting the silent gardeners of the night to tend to your inner world. You know they are sorting through the day's experiences, strengthening the important pathways and pruning the ones that no longer serve you. And the question lingers from the edge of your waking mind. How do they know what matters? They look for a special marker, a tag left behind not by thought, but by feeling. They look for a quiet, colorful flag that signals what truly matters to your heart. This flag, this marker, is your emotional compass. Your feelings are the most ancient and powerful language your brain understands. Long before you had words for your experiences, you had feelings about them. Feelings are the simple, direct feedback system that tells your mind what to seek out and what to avoid. They are the needle of the compass, constantly pointing toward what your brain perceives as a reward. Let your awareness drift into your own body now. Feel the subtle currents of emotion that are always present, even in this state of deep rest. A gentle sense of peace, a faint echo of a worry, a quiet warmth of contentment. These are not random noise. They are information. Each feeling is a message, a verdict on the moments you have just lived. When you experience something that your brain deems beneficial for your survival or well-being, it releases a cascade of chemicals that create a positive feeling. This feeling is the reward. It is a chemical signature that says, "This was good. Remember this. Do this again." This is the secret engine behind the river of every habit. The habit loop is not just a cue and a routine. It is a cue, a routine, and a rewarding feeling. You do not repeat actions that are neutral. You repeat actions that make you feel something desirable. The reward might be obvious, like the rush of pleasure from a sweet treat. But more often, it is subtle. The reward for your morning coffee habit is not just the caffeine. It is the feeling of comfort, of ritual, of gentle awakening. The reward for checking your phone is not the information itself, but the feeling of connection or the momentary relief from the feeling of boredom. Even habits you wish to change are anchored by a powerful emotional reward. The routine of worrying might be fueled by a fleeting feeling of being in control, of being prepared for the worst. The habit of procrastination might be rewarded by the immediate relief of avoiding a difficult or stressful task. The ghost in the machine is not just an action. It is an action that promises to deliver a specific emotional state. Your brain, in its relentless pursuit of efficiency and well-being, will always be drawn toward the path that leads to a rewarding feeling, even if that feeling is only temporary. The night gardeners use this emotional compass to guide their work. When they revisit the pathways of your day, they are looking for these colorful flags of feeling. An experience that was tagged with a strong emotion, joy, relief, pride, connection, safety, is marked as significant. The archivists see this flag and know this one is important. They replay that neural pathway, strengthening the connections, paving the road. An experience that was emotionally neutral, one that left no feeling in its wake, is less likely to be flagged. The editors may see this unmarked path and decide it is not essential, allowing it to be gently pruned away. This is why a moment of genuine, heartfelt pride in a new, small accomplishment is so powerful. When you walk your new, fragile path and you pause to let yourself truly feel a sense of satisfaction, you are planting a bright, colorful flag on that seedling for the night crew to find. You are telling your brain, in its own native language, this matters. This is who I want to become. Conversely, if you perform a new, positive action but feel nothing or even feel resentment about the effort it took, you are not giving the gardeners the signal they need to reinforce it. The feeling is the instruction. Let yourself feel this now. Imagine you took one conscious, calming breath during a stressful moment today. As you did, you felt a tiny wave of relief wash over you. That feeling of relief was the flag. It was the reward. Tonight, as you sleep, the archivists will find that moment. They will see the flag of relief planted on the tiny, new pathway of taking a conscious breath, and they will get to work strengthening that connection. They will replay it, consolidate it, and begin to weave it into the tapestry of who you are. The feeling you created with your attention becomes the blueprint for the automatic work of the night. You are not just a passive observer of this compass. You can learn to guide it. You can consciously cultivate the feelings that you want to associate with your new habits. When you complete a difficult task, instead of immediately rushing to the next thing, you can pause. You can take a moment to let the feeling of accomplishment land in your body. Feel the warmth, the quiet pride. Savor it. In doing so, you are not just being kind to yourself. You are actively participating in your own neuroplasticity. You are telling your architects exactly where to build. This is the art of tending to your inner garden. You choose a new seed to plant, a new habit. You clear the ground with your intention. You take the first, deliberate steps with your focused attention. And then, you water that new seedling with a positive feeling. You place a flag of joy, or peace, or strength beside it. And you trust the night crew to do the rest. As you drift deeper now into the warm, quiet sea of sleep, feel the gentle, rhythmic pulse of your own heart. It is the drumbeat of your life, and with it, the subtle ebb and flow of your emotional world. Your feelings are not your enemies. They are not interruptions to be suppressed. They are your wisest guides. They are the language of your deepest self, telling you what you need, what you value, and where you long to go. By learning to listen to this language, to honor it, and to gently guide it, you become the true navigator of your own life. You hold the compass in your own hands. But where, in the rush of a moment, can this listening happen? When the cue for an old, powerful habit appears, and the river of repetition begins to pull at you, where is the space to consult this compass? How do you find the stillness to choose a new feeling, to plant a new flag, before the old ghost takes over? It exists in a place of profound and simple power, a tiny island of time that is always available to you. A sacred pause. Chapter 9. The Power of a Pause. The summary of this chapter: between a stimulus and a response, there is a space. In that space lies your power to choose. Tonight, we will find this sacred pause, this moment of quiet reflection, and discover the immense freedom that comes from simply breathing before you act. You are resting in the deep, feeling the gentle wisdom of your emotional compass. You understand now that your feelings are the language your brain uses to mark what is important, guiding the silent gardeners of the night as they strengthen the pathways of your mind. But a question remains, soft as a breath. When the cue for an old, powerful habit appears, when the river of repetition begins to pull at you, where is the space to consult this compass? How do you find the stillness to choose a new path before the old ghost takes over? The answer lies in a place you can access at any moment. It is not a distant destination, but a tiny island of time that exists between a stimulus and your response. It is the sacred and powerful space of the pause. Imagine you are standing on the shore of a calm sea. A wave begins to form in the distance. This is the stimulus. A stressful thought, a feeling of boredom, a critical comment from someone. As the wave rolls toward you, your old habit is to be instantly swept up in it, pulled into the churn of the water, reacting without thinking. The pause is the act of learning to stand firm on the sand. You see the wave coming. You feel it wash over your feet. You feel the anger, the craving, the anxiety, but you do not let it knock you over. You breathe, and you remain standing on the shore as the wave recedes. This space, this pause, is a neurological miracle. When the stimulus wave appears, your brain's ancient sentinel, the amygdala, immediately sounds the alarm. It wants to send a lightning-fast signal down the well-paved superhighway to your basal ganglia, the engine room of your habits, to execute the old familiar program. This is the powerful, automatic current that pulls at you. It is a reaction that happens in a fraction of a second. The pause is the act of engaging a different part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex. This is the modern, conscious thinking part of your mind. It is the wise gardener, the calm observer. By choosing to pause, you are activating this higher-level system. It acts like a gentle but firm hand, momentarily holding back the floodgates of the automatic response. It interrupts the signal. It creates a tiny gap in the high-speed circuit. In that gap, freedom is born. And the simplest, most profound tool for creating this gap is your own breath. The breath is your anchor to the present moment. It is a physical action you can always turn to. So when the wave of stimulus appears, you do one simple thing. You breathe in and you breathe out, consciously, Let's walk through it. The cue arrives, the ping of an email late at night. The old river of habit begins to pull you toward anxiety. The ghost of the machine whispers, "You must answer this now. This is urgent." You feel the familiar tightening in your chest. But this time, instead of being swept away, you pause. You turn your attention to your breath. You feel the cool air enter your nostrils. You feel your belly expand. You feel the warm air leave your body. Just one breath. In the space created by that single breath, everything changes. You are no longer in the river of anxiety. You are standing on the bank, observing it. You can see the anxious thoughts flowing by. You can feel the physical sensations in your chest. But you are not the anxiety. You are the one who is aware of the anxiety. This is a monumental shift. You have stepped out of the program. You have woken up from the trance of habit. And in this newfound space, you have time. Time to consult your emotional compass. You can ask yourself, what do I truly need right now? Does this need an immediate response, or can it wait until morning? What feeling do I want to cultivate? The feeling of frantic reactivity, or the feeling of calm control? In the quiet of the pause, you can choose. You can choose to let the old river flow by without you, and you can choose to turn and take one small step on your new, gentle path. Perhaps the new path is closing your computer and feeling the quiet pride of setting a boundary. You have just planted a flag of peace. This ability to pause is a skill. It is a muscle. The first time you try, the pause might feel infinitesimally small. The old habit is powerful, and its current is strong. You might only be able to watch the wave go by after you've already been knocked over. That is okay. The next time, you might catch it just as it's hitting you. And with gentle practice, you will learn to see it coming from further and further away. The space will grow. The island of time will expand. You are forging a new neural pathway, the pathway of the pause itself. With every conscious breath you take in response to a trigger, you are strengthening the connection between your wise, observant prefrontal cortex and your ancient, reactive amygdala. You are teaching your brain a new and better way to respond. You are building a new habit, the habit of not reacting, the habit of choosing. Rest in this profound and simple truth. You hold within you the power to create freedom in any moment. It is as close as your next breath. It is the quiet space where you reclaim your power from the ghosts of the past. It is the silent turning point where all change becomes possible. With this freedom, with this ability to pause and choose, you are no longer just a passive landscape of pathways and rivers. You are no longer defined by the architecture of your past. You are stepping into a new role, the most important role of all. You are becoming the one who tends the soil, who chooses the seeds, and who decides, with gentle wisdom, how the garden will grow. Chapter 10. Becoming the Gardener. The summary of last chapter. You are not merely the garden, you are also the gardener. With gentle awareness and patient hands, you can cultivate the mind you wish to have. As our journey closes, we will rest in this knowledge, feeling the quiet confidence that change is always possible, beginning with a single, peaceful thought. You are resting now, in the profound stillness that lies at the heart of your being. You have found the sacred island of time, the gentle space that exists between a stimulus and a response. In our last chapter, we discovered this power of the pause, the quiet miracle of a single, conscious breath. It is in this space that you reclaim your freedom from the pull of old rivers and the whispers of old ghosts. It is here, in this newfound stillness, that you can finally step into your truest role. With this freedom, with this ability to pause and choose, you are no longer just a passive landscape of pathways and rivers. You are no longer defined by the architecture of your past. You are becoming the one who tends the soil, who chooses the seeds, and who decides, with gentle wisdom, how the garden will grow. Tonight, our journey through this inner landscape comes to a gentle close. We have walked together through the garden of your mind, a place of soft light and quiet potential. We have seen how the soil of your awareness can be nurtured and prepared for change. We have drifted on the powerful rivers of your habits, understanding that they were carved not by force, but by the steady, patient rain of repetition. We journeyed deeper into the inner cosmos to meet the microscopic architects of your brain, your neurons, as they forged connections and paved the highways of your thoughts with the silken insulation of myelin. We sat with the gentle phantoms in your machine, the old programs running in the quiet, dark parts of your mind. We learned that these ghosts are not to be feared, but to be understood as loyal guardians working with outdated information. And then we saw the first light of change. We felt the luminous spark of novelty, that burst of curiosity that illuminates new possibilities and invites your brain to awaken. We learned how to protect that fragile flame, how to forge a new pathway in the wilderness of the mind, taking one conscious, deliberate step at a time. We discovered the sacred, active work of rest, where the silent gardeners of the night clean the landscape, consolidate new learnings, and weave your new intentions into the very fabric of who you are. We learned to speak their language, using the emotional compass of your heart to plant colorful flags of feeling, marking what truly matters. And finally, we found the anchor of the breath, the key to creating the pause where all choice becomes possible. And now, as we bring all these threads together, a simple and profound truth emerges. You are not merely the garden, you are the gardener. This is the culmination of our journey together. To see yourself not as a fixed and finished product, but as a living, breathing, and constantly evolving process. The garden is the beautiful, complex system of your brain and body. The gardener is your awareness, your consciousness, the quiet, loving presence that can observe and guide the garden's growth. The gardener does not work with brute force. A gardener does not scream at the weeds or try to yank out a mighty oak tree with their bare hands. A wise gardener works with gentle consistency, with patience, and with a deep understanding of the nature of the land. When you, as the gardener, wish to change a habit, you no longer see it as a battle to be won. You see the old, powerful river, and you offer it compassion. You understand it was created for a reason, to conserve your energy, to bring you a feeling of reward. You thank it for its service. And then you turn your attention elsewhere. You find a new patch of fertile soil, and you gently prepare it. You choose a new seed, a new intention, a new way of being. You plant this seed with a spark of novelty, a moment of genuine interest. You take the first step, and you water it with your focused attention. You protect the tiny seedling, knowing it is fragile. And most importantly, you water it with a positive feeling. You let yourself feel the quiet pride, the gentle peace, the small joy of this new choice. You plant your emotional flag. You do this today, and then you let it go. You trust the process. You lie down to rest, and you allow the night crew, the silent partners in your growth, to do their sacred work. You trust that they will see your flag, that they will tend to your new seedling, strengthening its roots while you sleep. The next day, you return and do it again. You walk the new path. You water the seedling. You feel the feeling. You are patient. You understand that a garden does not transform overnight. You do not check every hour to see if the seed has become a tree. You simply continue your gentle, consistent practice. You are the calm, steady presence overseeing it all. This is the art of becoming. It is the practice of living with gentle intention. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that you are an active participant in the creation of your own mind. The pathways of your past do not have to define your future. You have the power in any moment to pause, to breathe, and to choose to walk a new path. So as you drift now into the deep, restorative peace of sleep, rest in this quiet knowledge. Feel the gentle power that resides within you. You are the gardener. Your awareness is the sun, and your compassion is the rain. The soil of your mind is fertile and ready, and with every peaceful thought, with every gentle choice, you are cultivating a landscape of greater peace, greater strength, and greater joy. Our journey through the world of neuroplasticity and habit is now complete for tonight. Rest deeply and let the silent gardeners do their beautiful work. We will meet again in our next episode to explore another quiet corner of the universe within you. Until then, sleep well. Good night. And before you drift away, tell us, where in the world are you listening from? And what time is it right now? We'd love to know where this journey reaches.